teams the last few seasons. Today, they take on Tim Jankovich's Illinois State Redbirds, who have been one of the surprise teams in the Valley this season. Can the Birds fly to the semis? March Madness rolls on from downtown St. Louis. Welcome back to downtown St. Louis, home of the 2012 State Farm Missouri Valley Conference Men's Championship. As we get set for Game 2 of quarterfinal Friday, the Northern Iowa Panthers getting set to take on the Illinois State Redbirds. Welcome inside the Scott Trade Center. You'll feel the energy of quarterfinal Friday here in Arch Madness. Scott Warming with you. Great to have you alongside. Wichita State, the top seed, moves on to the semis. They'll take on the winner of this one. Let's take a look at the brackets. They're brought to you by State Farm. Wichita State disposes Indiana State earlier today in our first game, 72-48. Game 2, as we mentioned, coming up, Northern Iowa and Illinois State. And coming up, the doubleheader tonight, the great Blue Jays taking on the Drake Bulldogs. That should be a great one as well, as Evansville against Missouri State. Now we go courtside for Game 2 and bring you all the action. We send it to Mark Adams and John Rooney. Johnny?
All right, thank you very much, Scott. We have 4 against 5, and did you sleep fast last night, Mark?
Absolutely, I'm ready.
I am too. How about Northern Iowa? Recent success in the tournament coming into this now.
Won the Valley Tournament in 04, 09, and 10. And who could forget Kajo Ahelikba, Ali Farouk-Manesh, Jordan Eagles-Eater, and of course Adam Cook, who went to the Sweet 16, knocked off Kansas in the NCAA tournament. Now it's Johnny Moran's turn. Now it's Jake Cook's turn, Mark Sonnen's turn, Anthony James' turn, who all had a role on that team, but much different than today. And they take on a very young but much improved Illinois State team, led by one of the most improved and defensive-minded big guys in Jackie Carmichael.
And never count out Redbirds in St. Louis as Illinois State goes up against Northern Iowa. Northern Iowa is trying to win 20 games for a 4th consecutive year, while the Redbirds are after their 19th victory, trying to move on in Arch Madness. We'll be back with the lineups after these important messages.
Brought to you by State Farm. For auto, home, life, and banking, get to a better state. By Emerson, the proud presenting partner of the Larry Bird Trophy. Emerson, consider it solved. And by the Farmer-owned Prairie Farm family of dairies, Prairie Farms Highland Roberts, farm fresh quality from our family to yours.
Welcome back. We're at Scott Trade Center in downtown St. Louis. Northern Iowa against Illinois State. The MVC basketball tournament presented by State Farm continues. Ben Jacobson brings his Northern Iowa Panthers in with a 19-12 record, 9-9 in the Valley. And here are today's starting lineups. A presentation of SLU Care Orthopedic Sports Medicine Specialist at SLU Hospital, who can help keep you in the game. Seth Tuttle, the freshman of the year, he heads the lineup for the Panthers. Of course, they have Deion Mitchell coming into the starting lineup, and for Illinois State, there's their lineup, and it features a good freshman in Nick Moore. Their coach is Tim Jankovich, 5th year at Illinois State, 101 wins, 8 years as a college head coach. He is 154 and 119. And let's take a look at today's series history, brought to you by Coventry Healthcare. The Redbirds have the lead all time. The team split their season series so far this year. And UNI has won 15 of the last 19 overall in the series. And visit CoventryHealthcare.com for more information. And now let's go to our State Farm keys to the game, Mark Adams.
For Northern Iowa, 3-ball success in the victory over Illinois State. They shot 57%. In the loss, only 32. Watch rebounds all day. Both these teams good on the glass, not great. We'll be tracking that all afternoon.
The Northern Iowa Panthers and now the Illinois State Redbirds.
Redbird rebounds, again, pound the glass. 70 is the key number. Illinois State generally wins when they score 70 points. First team to 70, I think, wins this game today.
For auto, home, life, and banking, get to a better state. Find an agent or get a quote at statefarm.com. Tom Ackerman is part of our crew. He's courtside. Tom, what do you have for us?
Well, John, with Indiana State out of this tournament, there is one team remaining that has experience celebrating on this court on Sunday, and that would be Ben Jacobson's Northern Iowa team, winning it in 2009 and 2010. Johnny Moran was a freshman and then a sophomore on those teams, and he was asked if he could give advice to freshmen Seth Tuttle and Deion Mitchell. What would he say? He said, just go out and play. The team has confidence in those players. The coaching staff has confidence in those players. Just go out and play like you have been all season. Let's see what Northern Iowa can do in that situation.
All right, thank you very much, Tom. Johnny Moran, he holds the UNI record for most starts at 133, including the game today. And he has put together some career. He has made 193 three-point field goals, and the UNI record is 203 by Ben Jacobson. Of course, he has attempted more three-point field goals than his coach Jacobson during his playing days. But UNI is dressed in purple, and Johnny Moran, a 6'1", 190-pound senior, will be joined by Seth Tuttle, Jake Cook, Mark Sonnen, and Deion Mitchell. Watch Deion Mitchell, number 1, a freshman out of Texas. In his last game, he had 12 points against SIU on Saturday and has been a starter since the SIU game at the end of January when Deion Mitchell sat out with an injury. Here we go. We're underway in the quarterfinals in St. Louis. Number 4, Illinois State against number 5, Northern Iowa. And here's Mitchell. He has his hands on the basketball first.
Illinois State opens up in man-to-man, anchored by number 32, Jackie Carmichael in the paint.
And a block inside by John Eakey, but saved and tracked down by the freshman of the year, Seth Tuttle. Tom O'Neill blows a whistle.
The shot clock reset, should not have, as obviously the ball did not hit the rim. There's the block shot by John Eakey. I think he's an X-factor guy for this basketball team. You saw his ability to defend right there. If he knocks down shots early in this game, that's usually a very positive sign for Illinois State.
And good things happen when Eakey gets involved on the boards. He had 3 consecutive games of 13, 13, and 12 rebounds against UNI, SIU, and Missouri State this season. Okay, the shot clock is down to 10 now. Here's Deion Mitchell. Finds Seth Tuttle. And that rimmed out. Jackie Carmichael is there for the Redbirds, dressed in white. And here's the freshman I spoke of a moment ago, number 11, Nick Moore, a freshman out of Winona Lake, Indiana.
Yeah, he's been the difference maker offensively for this Illinois State basketball team. Number 11 in white right there. He makes a lot of great decisions. Good post feed.
Eakey back out front for Moore. There's the shot clock. Comes down to 12 seconds. We're just getting started. This quarterfinal matchup between Illinois State and Northern Iowa. And a great entry pass. The dunk by Carmichael. The Redbirds are on the scoreboard.
That's the vision of Nick Moore, and that's the athleticism of Jackie Carmichael.
Deion Mitchell takes his time coming into the front court. And from the double team, just light pressure. Penetrating, shooting high off the glass. That won't go. Cook tried to follow, and he'll be on the free throw line. He was fouled by John Wilkins.
Look at Nick Moore. He knows because 2 defenders, he drags them toward him, and Jackie Carmichael goes right down the gut. That's good recognition by a freshman point guard. Doesn't over-dribble the ball, constantly looking for the next option.
And Jake Cook is on the free throw line. He has another one coming. Closed captioning for today's telecast is made possible by Emerson, the global technology and engineering company. To learn more, visit emerson.com. Emerson, consider it solved. Cook is trying to solve another one from the line here and tie the game in the early going. Short on that one. And Tyler Brown brings it in for the Redbirds as Moore pushes it up the floor. Carmichael scored the 2 for the Redbirds. Make it 4.
Jackie Carmichael just slipped off that on-ball screen, and it created a matchup with Cook, which he liked and Illinois State likes.
And coming down the stretch of the Missouri Valley season, it appeared Carmichael was playing with more and more confidence each night. And he's off to a good start today with the 4 Redbird points. Deion Mitchell. Seth Tuttle. Number 20 is Jake Cook, and That's out of bounds. It belongs to Northern Iowa. The Panthers will play it in with 9 on the shot clock.
And Ben Jacobson, he knows that Jackie Carmichael can change the game defensively and offensively.
A shot from the corner, and that's an air ball. Released by Mark Sonnen. UNI's 0 for 4 from the field, and this is from the corner, and that's too strong. That won't go down by Allen. Ike, short. Here's Tuttle. Now Mitchell will run it. He avoided a steal. Moran, count it.
Good sign for Northern Iowa. Johnny Moran, he's the sage veteran. He's been through it all, including a Sweet 16 run to the NCAA tournament. They'll need to draw from his confidence this afternoon.
His 194th career trade. We're tied at 4. Carmichael with a shot over Tuttle, and that's an air ball. Jake Cook gets the ball to the point guard, Deion Mitchell. Mitchell tried to split a double team, and he was bumped by Nick Moore. For Moore, his first foul, and Jackie Carmichael, second team all Missouri Valley, and he plays well on both ends of the floor, Mark.
All defensive team in the Valley, most improved. There you see his numbers. He really is a well-rounded Redbird. Try saying that fast 5 times.
You passed the test. You have passed the audition, Mark.
The guys in the truck definitely have a sense of humor today.
Yes, they do. Austin Field, number 33, is in for the Panthers. He sets a high pick. Matt Morrison, 21, is also in the game. Anthony James, number 52, their leading scorer with his hands on the ball. Chip Rank, number 4.
You know, if Anthony James can get into gaps, that's a critical element to this Northern Iowa offense. Kajoa Heliga brought that ability to this Northern Iowa offense.
Morrison missed on the scoop, and the Redbirds come back the other way, trying to break the 4-4 tie. Carmichael. Contact, but no foul. Here's Anthony James. And that won't go down for Moran. 1 and out. And here come the Redbirds. Moore. He didn't get the roll. James got the loose ball. Pick set by Chip Rank. Anthony James. He gets it right back for an open shot, and that's too long. That's an air ball back to Illinois State, and we come back from this timeout. We're at 15:40 to go in the first half. Arch Madness in St. Louis, presented by State Farm. In the early going, Jackie Carmichael 4, Johnny Moran 3, and Jake Cook 1. It's a 4-4 ball game as we get started with this quarterfinal action. Our Missouri Valley Conference standings are a presentation of Purina Dog Chow. Long live your dog. And it's interesting, out of the group, bunched up at 9-9, had Indiana State, now down there at 8-10, and Indiana State won in the close game they had against Creighton over the weekend. That would have further complicated things and certainly could have changed the fortunes of Indiana State. Loser today to Wichita State, 72-48. But that's how good this conference was this year, Mark.
Indiana State would have been the number 3 seed with that loss to Creighton. They dropped to the number 8 seed. And now Northern Iowa, who's beaten everybody in the Valley except for Wichita State. If they win today, guess who they play? Wichita State.
Tyler Brown with a miss. John Wilkins tried to chase it down, but committed his second foul. Illinois State has 3 team fouls. The Panthers have yet to foul. Jackie Carmichael back in. Wilkins will go out. And the Panthers will inbound the ball.
Well, Illinois State was picked for 8th in the preseason, ended up 4th through the tiebreaker. Big reason is Jackie Carmichael. When he brings energy, he's as good as any big guy in the Valley.
James from the point. Number 4 is Chip Rank. Right now the Panthers taking their time in the offense. Morrison with the miss. In the line drive. Rebound for Bryant Allen. And he turned the ball over. Turnover, the first of the game for Illinois State. Tyler Brown, a little too quick that time. He gives the ball back to Northern Iowa. 4-4. I gave you the scoring breakdown. Jackie Carmichael with a couple of baskets inside the lane. And a 3 ball by Johnny Moran. And 1 out of 2 from the free throw line for Jake Cook. That has been it for the scoring as we are under 15 minutes to go in the first half. A 3 attempt. And that funnels in for Johnny Moran.
Well executed that time. Good ball movement. Johnny Moran moving through screens.
He had space, he had time, and he was accurate.
Well, he has that experience too, John. That's something that would be really difficult to factor, but so important. Mismatch inside for Carmichael. Now they switch back.
As Darius Clark had some trouble getting rid of the ball, splitting the double team. There's Carmichael, an aggressive move, and Carmichael has 6.
He just gracefully rises above the defense.
First made field goal for the Redbirds since 1822 here in the first half. Carmichael has all of the scoring so far for the Redbirds. Moran is cut off, so he brings it back out for Matt Morrison. Here's Anthony James. A contested shot that spins off, and there's Bryant Allen.
Great defense by Bryant Allen on that last possession.
A football player when he set foot on campus in Bloomington. And that 3 attempt won't go. Austin Peele, who's there for Northern Iowa. And in the corner, that is saved in by Anthony Cousin. The Redbirds seem content to let the ball go out of bounds, but Northern Iowa wasn't giving up. Carmichael will bring it back out for Anthony Cousin, a junior from Anchorage, Alaska, number 5. Cousin from the double team. Bryant Allen. As James tried to take the ball away from him. Allen protected that, and he traveled. He got into traffic, and so far Northern Iowa's keeping the pressure on the Redbirds.
We've now seen the gist of this game. Who can defend better in the half-court sets? We talked about the importance of tempo to get to that 70-point line for Illinois State. I'm not sure that's going to happen here this afternoon. This looks like it's going to be a knockdown, drag-out, half-court type of slugfest defensively.
Cook, Sonnen, and Mitchell back in for Northern Iowa. That's something Ben Jacobson will do throughout the game. He'll have his line change up there at the scorer's table when he gets that whistle on a break in the action. They just keep everybody fresh.
Well, the way they defend, they've got to use bodies. Maximum effort on the defensive end for Ben Jacobson.
Mark Sonnen working it on Cousin. And a 3 attempt, perfect by Jake Cook. He has 4 today. UNI's 3 for 7 on 3-point field goal attempts. 2 belong to Johnny Moran, and Cook just drained that one. Here's Upshaw. He missed the 3 attempt, and it's slapped out to Bryant Allen. Around to Moore. 10-6 in favor of Northern Iowa.
This is where Nick Moore and Bryant Allen really have to take control and be aggressive offensively. A little bit soft on the perimeter right now.
Allen, that's a 3.
Right on cue.
Allen scored 29 against Creighton on January 13th.
He's part of that all-Missouri Valley Conference all-bench team. Real spark off the bench for Tim Jankovic, Illinois State.
Set double with the turnaround, and he's shorting on that shot. Volleyed over to Nick Moore. Moore, there he goes through the lane, and that's in. You talk about somebody streaking and pushing the envelope.
John, so critical for Bryant Allen and Nick Moore to generate offense for this Illinois State team, both in the open court and the half court. If those two are aggressive, very difficult to defend.
Mark, when Moore got to midcourt, he found another gear. A pass to the baseline that was intended for James, stolen by Allen. And Allen goes streaking along the right of the lane, losing the ball out of bounds to Northern Iowa. The Panthers will have the ball when we come back. But here's what we're talking about with Nick Moore, the freshman. All the way through for 2. Illinois State has a 1-point lead.
Arch Madness of quarterfinal Friday. Time now for today's Prairie Farms MVC Scholar Athlete of the Game. It's UNI's Chip Rank. Sophomore forward from Cedarburg, Wisconsin, has a 3.66 GPA in Economics and Business Administration. Hit the game-winning shot with no time remaining to defeat Missouri State earlier this year. The farmer-owned Prairie Farm family dairies, Prairie Farms, Island, and Roberts Dairies. Farm fresh quality from our family to yours, John.
Okay, Scott. Great job with the intermission in between ball games. Some terrific interviews with the Hall of Fame inductees, Missouri Valley Hall of Fame. Way to go. And the ball belongs to Northern Iowa after the timeout. Cook trying to create something in the lane, and he gets the crawler. 6 for Jake Cook. The first points in the paint today for Northern Iowa as the Panthers have been outscored 8-2 by the Redbirds in the lane.
Yeah, Jackie Carmichael is Mr. Inside for Illinois State. The next 6 scores, John, for Illinois State take 55% of their shots from beyond the three-point line. He is truly the inside guy for Illinois State.
And Mark Sonnen tore that rebound down. Sonnen to the front court. As he draws attention, he's looking for the open man, who happens to be Dion Mitchell. Northern Iowa with a 1-point lead and the basketball. We're in the first half in St. Louis. Arch Madness, the Missouri Valley men's basketball tournament presented by State Farm.
And interesting to see how Northern Iowa really trying to get the ball down low on the mismatch for Jake Cook. That's very well executed. Look for a defensive adjustment from Illinois State in the post.
Mark Sonnen made that look easy, Mark, the way he was able to get into the lane and then just flip the ball and get the roll off the rim. Number 2, Bryant Allen. Carmichael drawing attention from Tuttle. 15 on the shot clock, plenty of time. And an offensive foul called on Zeke Upshaw.
Illinois State, when they score inside, it's Jackie Carmichael. The next 6 top scorers, there you see their 2-point attempts. Look at the number of 3-point attempts. 228 for 601. 55% of their total attempts of the next 6 top scorers come from behind the arc. That young man, Jackie Carmichael, is Mr. Inside. The rest of the team, outside.
14 fouls on Illinois State. And a shot from the point. That's no good by Sonnen. Nick Moore, he gets control of the ball and across the timeline as Illinois State is down by 3.
Well, John, so as a coach, you've really got a little bit of a dilemma. Do you double down on Carmichael? Because if you do, then you free up 3-point shooters for Illinois State. They're trying to play one-on-one right now early on.
Moore will bring it back out front with 10 on the shot clock. There's Icky with the turnaround, and he's short. Moran to the front court for the Panthers. Off the pick, Cook takes the pass. He spins in on Icky, and that's short off the glass.
Cook just avoided contact there. You got to be strong. Take it to the basket.
As Tyler Brown was doing so on the other end of the floor, and he got fouled. That's the first foul on UNI.
Northern Iowa is picking on the switching defenders of Illinois State, and they're finding Jake Cook down low. And when Cook has a size advantage, you can't go fade away. You've got to attack the basket.
The foul on Matt Morrison places Tyler Brown on the line. And this shot will be in play at 8:26 to go in the first half. Seth Tuttle checks back in for the Panthers.
Tyler Brown, one of those guys with a good basketball IQ. Named the Valley All-Newcomer team here this week in St. Louis.
And he goes 1 for 2 at the line. He's made 32 of his last 35 free throws. 2-point lead for Northern Iowa.
Watch how the Illinois State defense switches off of on-ball screens, which can create mismatches for the bigs.
Quick release on the shot, and that spins off for Mark Sonnen. Junior from St. Paul, Minnesota with the miss, and back the other way, the Redbirds. Brown at the 3-point line. Icky trying to move in on Chip Rank. Nice hook, but it just wouldn't go down for him. He had the shot, but the rim wasn't very kind. Now Morrison, he was contested as he got into the lane. And the Redbirds Moore races back the other way. Bullet pass to Carmichael. He drew contact and a foul on Chip Rank. That's the first on Rank and the second on UNI. Carmichael with the move will be on the line when we come back as Northern Iowa leads the Redbirds by 2. Here in the quarterfinals of the Missouri Valley Men's Basketball Championships, and Northern Iowa has a 2-point lead over Illinois State. When Niles Media Group takes its television cameras on the road in the Valley, it considers these hotel properties home away from home. Call these hotels or visit the websites of these properties when you're following your favorite team away from home, just like the Niles Media Group.
Well, John, that's our home away from home as well as we travel all across the Missouri Valley Conference. And when you travel as much as we do, it's really nice to be treated so well by all those properties.
The people are so great, and you'll be glad you gave them a call. Northern Iowa by 2, and let's see if the Redbirds can tie it up or take the lead with this possession. Or into Carmichael, guarded by Tuttle, and draws a double team with Rank moving over.
Well, a good rotation defensively by Northern Iowa out of the double team.
Moore had the shot, tried to follow, but Rank got in his way, though. And Anthony James has control of the basketball for the Panthers. Giving it up to his freshman point guard, Deion Mitchell.
Let's see if Northern Iowa continues to try to work off of the screens, get a mismatch inside. Settle for the jump shot, not successful.
Chip Rank on the miss, and Carmichael stepped in front of Rank, who tried to follow his shot. All the way in. Brown is blocked. Seth Tuttle with the blocked shot.
Well, what a good-looking freshman in Seth Tuttle, the freshman of the year in the Missouri Valley Conference. You're starting to see him now develop defensively, the anticipation, the ability to go and block a shot.
John Eakey goes out of the game. John Wilkins with 2 personal fouls is back in for Illinois State. He's number 13 in the white jersey. Nick Moore for Bryant Allen.
Northern Iowa has made a defensive adjustment. Whenever Jackie Carmichael catches it, it's double team.
A 5-minute scoring drought for the Redbirds, broken right there by Bryant Allen.
That's a pretty good football player right there. Playing basketball.
Nice pass.
Pretty doggone good.
Nice pass that went through the hoop. His second 3 ball, 6 for Bryant Allen. Austin Peele, 33. The high post for Northern Iowa. Anthony James indicating the set play. From the corner. 3-point attempt, no good for Jake Cook. Cross-court pass. Allen, too strong this time. Austin Peele was there in purple for Northern Iowa.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Ben Jacobson go more and more toward his on-ball screen offense. Reason being, Illinois State switches off, and it creates huge mismatches because they screen with big guys against point guards, and that's your switch.
There was a foul off the ball, and it was called against John Wilkins, who just picked up his 3rd foul with 5:36 to go in the first half.
He is a big, rangy guy that can defend well. Over 4 rebounds per game, a block shot per game, 7.5 points per game. That's a big loss. We saw how athletic he was earlier in the season.
He had a very good game against Indiana State in January. And here's Tuttle for the corner, a 3-point attempt. Perfect. Sonnen has 5 points. His first 3 ball of the day. And it's 17-15 Northern Iowa.
47% from 3, Mark Sonnen. Almost 60% of his shots come from behind the arc. Very comfortable from that range.
So far, this game is playing out like you expect between a 4 and a 5. And the ball goes back to Northern Iowa. The turnover by Illinois State.
We're also playing out to a slower tempo. We talked about the importance of 70 points. I think more so for Illinois State than for Northern Iowa.
5 turnovers for the Redbirds. And James throws it up.
He's lucky that wasn't an offensive foul. He jumped right into the defender.
So Illinois State gets the ball back after that missed shot by James. And that's short by Cousins. Carmichael, and a blocking foul is called with Tuttle picking up his first foul this afternoon. Illinois State with 5 team fouls, and that was the 3rd team foul on UNI. That rattles out for Carmichael, a 70% free throw shooter. One more here with 4:37 to go in the first half for Carmichael.
You know, we've seen Jackie Carmichael's ability to score on the block. He was 0 for 3 for his career from 3 until he banged a 3 at the buzzer to beat Evansville 75-73. We'll see Evansville tonight, who lost 8 games by a total of 15 points.
But won 2 overtime games against tonight's opponent, Missouri State.
That's going to be a heck of a ball.
That'll be a great game, and that will finish off the quarterfinal night here in St. Louis at Arch Madness. There's the fake, and a foul as Jake Cook through the contact. Cook will be on the line, shooting 2. And the foul is called on John Eakey, his first.
And all these teams battling now for the right to take on nationally ranked Wichita State, number 14 in the country. And that Evansville, Missouri State matchup for the right to take on possibly number 24 Creighton if they can get by their quarterfinal matchup later on this evening.
Creighton and Drake, the first game tonight. 6 o'clock, Mitch Holtis and Rich Zavosik will bring you the play-by-play and analysis of that one here on the Missouri Valley Network.
Hard to guard, Rayvonte Rice of Drake and Ben Simons, those 2 guys. And against that Creighton defense, which can be suspect at times, those 2 guys could carry the load. Don't count Drake out of that basketball game against Creighton tonight.
For the most part last night, Drake played very good defense.
They really did. They've improved as much as anybody in the Valley defensively.
Moore will go to the line. A blocking foul called against the Panthers. And that's on Tuttle, his second. Moore is quick. He really saw the opening there. He thought, okay, either foul me or I'm scoring.
You know, John, he's not only quick, he's really smart. I mean, for a freshman to run this team with the type of offensive acumen that he has is really unusual for a freshman. I mean, a year ago, Illinois State couldn't make good decisions in their half court. Because of Nick Moore, this team consistently makes good decisions. That's why they were the number 8 pick in the preseason, but number 4 finish, according to the seeds in the Valley. Nick Moore.
Moore made the free throws count. He has 4 points. Rank is in, and Tuttle goes back to the bench for Northern Iowa after Seth committed his second foul. Deion Mitchell. A blocking foul as Mitchell moved into the lane. And with that, we get to a break as John Eakey committed his second foul. We're tied at 18 here in St. Louis in the first half. St. Louis, the Larry Bird Trophy is given annually to the Missouri Valley Conference's outstanding men's basketball player. Emerson is excited to be the proud presenting partner of this year's award. Visit MVCSports.com to learn more. Emerson, consider it solved. And all of the contenders for the Larry Bird Trophy, they went to Mr. McDermott of the Jays at Creighton, but all of the contenders in action here today in the quarterfinals. And later on, we're going to see Colt Ryan against Kyle Weems.
Yeah, that's going to be a great matchup right there. Kyle Weems, the guy that I love to have the ball in his hands whenever it comes down to an opportunity to make a game-winning shot. And I can say the same thing about Colt Ryan, and I think it's going to come down to that tonight.
And Doug McDermott will be playing at 6 o'clock tonight with Creighton against Drake. 2 free throws for the freshman, Deion Mitchell. He had 12 points against SIU on Saturday. And it's a 20-18 lead for UNI, with Illinois trying to tie it or get the lead back here.
You can always tell what coaches are thinking offensively coming out of the timeout. Well-designed play by Tim Jankovic.
No kidding, as Brown got the assist, and Cousin the three-point shot from the corner.
Very well-designed play. A little crisscross on the perimeter action. Hard drive baseline. Use the baseline to pass the ball along the corner.
And Cousin had all day to think about it. A nice save by Mitchell. Saw him with the ball fake and back to Mitchell. Boy, what a spin by Mitchell. And that spins out for him. Here's Nick Moore pushing it up the floor for the Redbirds. And a charge called. A charge as Matt Morrison was able to get position and take the contact.
Tim Jankovic decides to attack the basket along the baseline, and Tyler Brown was able to get his shoulders by and actually use the baseline to protect the basketball. Found Anthony Cousin wide open.
Points in the paint, Illinois State 8-4. But from the outside, 3-point field goals. UNI has 4 so far in the first half, and Illinois State just got the third a moment ago when Anthony Cousin hit the shot from the corner. And travel called against Jake Cook. Looked like a little indecision there, Mark.
Well, Jake Cook has had that indecision. Ben Jacobson wants Jake Cook to attack when he gets the basketball down low.
Illinois State up by 1. Inside 3 minutes to go in the first half. Number 1 is Tyler Brown.
A little too much dribble right there. Get the ball movement. There it is.
Wide open Brown, and he's short with his three-point attempt. The senior Johnny Moran will bring it across. Coming down to 2.5 minutes left in the first half. Mark Sonnen, number 20 at the high post. Carmichael comes out to contest Cook. Cook's working one-on-one with Carmichael. Sonnen throws it over Moran's head.
Ball was tipped.
That was tipped. Go back court.
5 on the shot clock.
And that just grazed the rim, but down to Illinois State in the process.
That's where every Northern Iowa fan is saying, where's Kajoa Heligba? Of course, graduated, but he was a guy that could make that play late shot clock for this Northern Iowa basketball team.
Well, there was some bumping going on between Carmichael and Chip Rank, and Rank got caught for his second foul. Illinois State has put UNI in the bonus. Only 5 team fouls for UNI, and a timeout taken by Illinois State. And we're going to keep it right here, Scott Trade Center in St. Louis. A quarterfinal Friday. The first game today went to Wichita State, 72-48 over Indiana State. And Wichita State just shot right out of the gate. What a tough, well-balanced team. The top seed in this tournament, the Shockers from Wichita State.
They really are well-balanced and possibly could face a very talented freshman in Seth Tuttle. If Northern Iowa can find a way to win this game against a very game Illinois State basketball team. Freshman of the year in the Missouri Valley Conference. What a season he's had. Good guy to build around for Ben Jacobson.
Seth Tuttle has yet to score, has a couple of fouls here in the first half. Illinois State to inbound, Carmichael. Anthony Cousin has a 3-point basket so far in the first half as he directs traffic. Carmichael's covered well inside.
Really getting pushed out, allowing himself to go out to the 15-foot mark. He's got to sit down, be a little more physical in the paint.
Austin Peel has been staying with Carmichael. And that is short off the front of the rim, a miss by Cousin. That's for 3. Sonnen has 8 in the first half.
Johnny Moran knew exactly who he was going to give the ball to. That was Mark Sonnen in that right-hand corner. He's nearly automatic when no one's in his face.
A 2-point lead for Northern Iowa. Cousin steps up into a double team. This is Upshaw. Allen is bumped by Anthony James, but controls the dribble. Allen had the shot, and a foul is called against Jackie Carmichael, his first.
94-foot basketball. Sonnen running the floor right in front of you, goes to the right-hand wing, down to the corner, and Johnny Moran knew exactly where he was going with the ball. And Anthony James made the simple pass first over to Johnny Moran, and then Moran gets the assist.
1-1 here for Austin Peel, a junior from Cedar Falls, Iowa. A 58% shooter from the foul line.
You see so many guards in that situation, John, to try to hit the home run and pass over the defense to get it to Sonnen. He used the angles right there to give the ball to Johnny Moran, who made the simple pass down to the corner.
Experience.
Isn't that the truth?
Field made the 1-and-1 and made number 2.
A little full court pressure, looks like a little half court trap action here for Northern Iowa. There it comes.
There was the trap, but it's Brown with the basketball, and 22-21, down to 20 on the shot clock for Illinois State.
Watch for Brian Allen, number 2 in white. Late shot clock. It goes up early. Surprised by that shot.
Clark with the miss, and with 22.3 to go in the first half, Coach Ben Jacobson wants to talk about what they'll do with the time remaining here.
Well, good timeout right here. This is why Ben Jacobson's team have been so successful winning the Valley in 09 and 2010 and ultimately knocking off Kansas en route to the Sweet 16 in 2010. I'd look for Mark Sonnen to get a touch off of multiple screens. He's the hot hand along with Tuttle on the same side.
Both teams have made 7 field goals. UNI 7 for 27. Illinois State 7 out of 26. Yet UNI has 2 more 3-point field goals than the Redbirds. UNI with a 4-point lead, looking to increase that before we get to halftime.
So Tuttle's out. Sonnen's taking the ball out of bounds with 22.3 seconds to go. The way he has shot the ball, I'd run him off of multiple screens. And Illinois State switches up now and goes 2-3 zone. Little cat and mouse here between Tim Jankovic and Ben Jacobson. Jacobson now calling a new play.
13 is Johnny Moran. 5 on the clock.
And Illinois State switches back to man-to-man.
Sonnen couldn't get the shot away.
Smart defense by Tim Jankovic. He shows the zone, which confuses the defense, or the offense, excuse me, and then switches back to man-to-man mid-possession. Well executed by Illinois State.
And Jay Cook couldn't get the shot away at the half. So here we are with halftime and 25-21. It's time now to check in for today's St. Charles Convention and Visitors Bureau plans for the second half with Tom Ackerman.
Thank you, John. Coach, your thoughts on a first half where baskets were hard to come by?
Yeah, they were. Both teams defended pretty well. There were some open shots left out there for both teams as well. Guys had some decent looks that didn't go in on either side, so we got a low-scoring game.
Good luck in the second half.
Thanks.
Our chat with Ben Jacobson is brought to you by St. Charles, Missouri Convention and Visitors Bureau. When making plans to attend the 2012 State Farm MVC Women's Basketball Championship, go to www.historicstcharles.com or call 800-366-2427. And here is the final possession mark in the first half.
Fascinating possession as Tim Jankovic originally showed 2-3 zone. Now you see they switch back to man-to-man. Ben Jacobson had to switch his call offensively, and because of that indecision offensively for Northern Iowa, game clock runs down.
And Jake Cook couldn't get a shot away until time ran out. An entertaining first half. UNI 25. Illinois State 21. A lot to talk about on the halftime report coming up with Scott Warman. So stay with us as we'll return to St. Louis after this.
If it goes 5.